These are the naked barley breeding plots, all spring varieties, and it's the end of June. First one we have is Lavina, which is a German naked barley variety. Excellent grain quality but poor yield, and you can see there's some mildew already appearing in the bottom of the canopy there. Next we have a 6-row variety from Icada in Syria. This is a really useful variety because you can sow it in the spring or in the later on in the autumn. It's a 6-row, which means you get more grains per ear, but they tend to be thin and skinny, so they're not particularly useful as they are. But I've used it in crosses quite a lot. This is Lavina crossed with a British variety called Static. The Static is a feed variety. It's gone off the list now, but it did have very short, stiff straw and good resistance to mildew, so it was an ideal partner for Lavina to improve that straw strength and also the mildew resistance. And if you look down into the canopy, still completely green. And next we have another line that's got Lavina in it, but also the Icada variety and a couple of British varieties, so it's got 4 varieties in the parentage here. It's a bit of an improvement on Lavina Static. It's a bit shorter, but it's a bit more ragged because I haven't done so much selection on it yet. And then we have a shorter variety. This has got the Icada variety in the parentage, but also Westminster, which has got really good disease resistance. And you can see, if we just refocus down into the canopy, nice and green and clean, nice good colour. Reasonably stiff straw, so this looks a promising variety. Unfortunately the grain quality isn't quite as good, tends to stain a bit, so I've actually used this variety in crosses. The idea is a bit of parent building where you cross 2 good parents, so you're getting the characteristics you want from both sides. And this variety is Static crossed with the Tibetan variety. A bit too tall, but it seems very robust and very vigorous type of plant, so it might have some uses. And then down here we have Uzu barley, which is a type of Japanese dwarf barley. Then this is a cross with Westminster and the Uzu variety. Got a very different canopy structure. Tends to let a lot of light down further into the canopy, which means it's less competitive with weeds, which is obviously bad, but it could mean that the lower leaves can do more work of photosynthesis if they're getting a bit more light. So whether this is any use, I don't know yet. That's why I'm doing the experiment. Then we have some new crosses. These are F3s. These have got the Icada variety and the Lavina in the parentage. So that 4-way cross, but then crossed onto a selection of British varieties. This one is crossed with Odyssey, looking very promising at the moment. And this is a cross with another of the Icada varieties, a different one this time. This is a lot shorter. Could be useful. Had some problems though with very skinny grains, and also it tends to brackle, which is where the stem bends over before harvest. And finally we have another Icada Syrian cross. This is with one of the other Icada varieties, one called 321. Not a very inspiring name, but it tends to have very erect ears, you can see here. And this is crossed with Propino, which is a British spring variety. And it has large ears and extremely big flag leaves. How's that for